Your Eyes is brought to you by the Belize Bank. Our country, your bank.
And welcome to Open Your Eyes.
Start your morning right.
I am April Martinez.
And I am Ms. Anna Kaitana.
And good morning on another week, another Monday. Good morning, Isadi.
Good morning, April. We're on the tail end of an eventful weekend, actually.
Yeah.
Some of which we'll discuss later on in the show. Suffice to say that from Friday evening when we left work,
things were already happening.
On the go, all kinds of activities are happening in and around the city, and of course, by extension, the country of Belize. And it's a wonderful feeling to see people being patriotic, to see people during this time of year taking their love of country seriously.
Yes, I have to agree. I think that most municipalities had an event, a ceremony. I know that in the city Friday night had the fire engine parade. In Belpan they had a small fire engine parade as well.
Yeah.
I think in San Ignacio as well. There were so many events taking place that led to the 10th of September. Not to mention the Lord Rayburn tribute concert. As you know, as well as many other events. I think Oscar B's event was also that night. There were several concerts.
There were a number of concerts that were held in Belize City and elsewhere over the weekend, right? So if we're looking at the 9th night, bringing in
the
10th of September, there was the Chris Martin concert, I believe.
Yes.
There was also the Oscar B and Tanya Stevens concert. There was, I think, Loverboy performing over the weekend.
That was the same concert. Tanya Stevens, Chris Martin, Loverboy, they were all at the same event at Marion Jones. I know Oscar B's event was at Biltmore. And then Lord Rayburn was at Lord Rayburn Plaza.
Well, I'll say this, right? And I was sort of saving this for the Eye on the News.
Okay.
Kind of preempted
you could
me.
put some more into Eye on the News.
I'll say nonetheless, right? I think the tribute to Lord Rayburn, two things, right? The dedication of the plaza to him, or in his honor, and of course, the musical tribute to pay homage to his contributions to Belizean culture. I say culture because it goes beyond the music, the genre that he represents, but it's that Belizean identity that he's very much a part of, and his stewardship in that regard, right? To have him being celebrated while he's alive and he's able to smell his flowers while they're being given to him, I think this was one of the most meaningful moments thus far for September celebrations 2022.
I have to agree.
Seeing all of these Belizean artists come together to play his music while he's there to appreciate the lyrics being sung back to him. This is a stellar moment.
I have to agree, and I think that we kicked off September celebrations providing these awards for people that have contributed in the literature and the arts sector in Belize and being sort of ambassadors. And you know, the awards were given, like the Andy Palacio Award, the Lila Vernon Award, and you know, naturally we have to think about the fact that those people were just here not too long ago, and now, you know, so to pay this amount of tribute to somebody that is still alive, still here, I feel that that is something that we have to continuously do. We have so many people that...
Well, let's be honest. I'll go as far as saying people of my generation and upwards, because I don't know how closely Belizeans, the younger generation, followed the Jump Ups, the Brahms, and who the artists were that were important to that kind of musical setting, if I could use that expression.
Yeah.
Right? So we grew up listening to Lord Rayburn, the Mighty Lord Rayburn Combo, and all of these other Belizean bands, right? Like the Messengers, Super Furia, Youth Connection. Live music is a part of Belizean culture, right? It's a part of our identity as lovers of music. And so when you see someone like Lord Rayburn on the back of the truck and they're bramming and you have the jump up coming behind, that was a huge part of our tradition, right? I'm not sure if that has altogether been lost. I won't go there. Suffice to say that if you look at the 10th celebration itself, the parade, to me, it perhaps is a shell of its former self. But I'm saying that sparingly because we're only just really returning, so we'll see what next year brings. But I'm simply saying that when you see people like Lord Rayburn, right? Back in the days when she was much younger, you had Calypso Rose coming to Belize to participate and that sort of stuff. And so growing up and seeing that, right, it gives you a deep appreciation. It gives you a deep sense of belonging to something, right? If it's not just Belizean traditional music, then it's a part of the entire Calypso and Soca rhythm of the Caribbean.
I mean, I have to agree. We did flashbacks, I think last week, Paul and I were here, and we watched the September celebration from we just gained independence. And we saw another September celebration, I believe it was the 10th, around 2011 or so. And both Paul and I agreed that the one for Independence Day was a lot more joyous. There was a lot more, there was just more people looking
You're saying Independence Day as in September 21st, 1981?
No, September 21st, I think about 83 or 84.
Okay. I saw a snippet on that, of that, sorry, online.
And it looked more, people just looked more hype, right? And then they cut to September 10th, I think, 2011 or so. And it was a lot more formal, it was more structured for some strange reason. And so there's definitely been a change in how we do September celebrations.
Well, I'll also say this, right? Back in those days, the American influence wasn't as pervasive as it is today. And I think that has a lot to do with our own appreciation of September, right? I am an 80s baby, right? So when I was growing up in those years, there wasn't much cable and all these other stuff, right? And so you had an abiding sense of community. And with that came your own individual Belizean identity. So we were able to gravitate easier to our own local artists, or Belizean artists as we prefer to call them. We gravitated towards their music, right? And the fact that we only had like iterations of radio. You have Radio Belize, BCB, you have Friends FM, and then the other radio stations and TV station came on board later on. But I'm simply saying, at that time, right? Like, I'll digress and say this. When I was growing up, I followed religiously certain broadcasters that made me feel patriotic, made me accept that I am Belizean, right? If I talk about the late Edison Seferino Coleman, right? If I talk about Ed York, if I talk about all of these people, Beverly Smith, my dad, right? All of these people were critical in media and broadcasting back then, but everything was based around culture. So if you have, for instance, the Garifuna Half Hour, which my dad had, if you had storytelling features on the radio, and all of these things, right? So it culminates in the month of September. You go to school, and the first lessons being taught are lessons of patriotism and nationalism, because you have your social studies class, and when September begins, that's where we begin from. The national symbols, right? The meaning of the flag, the prayer, the anthem, etc., etc. That instilled in us a sense of pride, right? But with the advent of cable and all the other outside influences, perhaps it got a lot more diluted, if I could use that description.
No, I have to agree in the sense that we don't necessarily teach civic pride. Of course, you know, you teach the anthem and so forth, and I think there is no secret that American Western culture has influenced our generation. That is not a secret. Just look at what we're wearing right now, right? But the truth of the matter is, I think now that we've had 2 years to kind of sit back and miss it and miss who we are as a people during this time of the year, I feel that we're slowly starting to go back, look at the books, see where we kind of went wrong, and show a little bit of civic pride, more so than usual. I feel it in Belize City, and it's a very different feeling in other parts of the country, and I know there's a history behind it. I'm not going in all of that right now because I only got like 10 minutes. But in Belize City, I feel that sense of pride during September celebrations. I don't know if that feeling stays throughout the entire year, but here I definitely see how people gravitate towards September celebrations, not just because people are wearing their red, whites, and blues, but the fact that there is an event held almost every other day, whether it be, you know, National Day of Prayer or just Flag Day in itself. There is something to commemorate, something about civic pride in Belize here in the city.
Yeah.
And so kudos to the City Council for that. I wish that I felt that throughout the entire country, every single day, not just in September.
Well,
but I think we're slowly getting there. And I think things like looking back at the national curriculum and seeing how we can put history in there again, looking at Belizean studies and seeing how we can implement things that we're able to put back in our system that removes that Western ideology, that American influence, to give younger generations that sense of civic pride. It's slowly starting to come back into play. I'm seeing it, right?
Yeah.
It's just going to take some time. You and I might not be able to see the fruits of that labor, but maybe your kids will.
Well, I'll go on a limb, and if I recall correctly, I know that St. John's College began instituting certain aspects of African and Maya studies in their curriculum, right, as a means of instilling among us what our true history outside of colonialism has been, right? So I think that's a step in the right direction in terms of teaching Belizean history.
We're going to divert into that when we get into Eye on the News, but we have to keep the conversation positive, and I like where this is going, but we have to, we're going to give you some time for Eye on the News. We have housekeeping to do. But moving in with our show for this morning, we have our eye opener, and just to fill you and motivate you this lovely Monday morning, our eye opener is taken from dailyom.com, and it goes like this. By allowing ourselves to receive, we are given the gift of seeing through another person's eyes. Giving and receiving are part of the same cycle, and we give and receive in our own ways. But we can lose our balance when we try to be too controlling on either side of the cycle. On the receiving end, we may feel that we don't deserve the effort made if what we gave was easy for us to give. But perhaps there is a different lesson there for us. We may be receiving not only gratitude, but a chance to see the world through the eyes of another. We may be learning that just because we gave easily, it doesn't diminish its value. Or perhaps the universe is giving us an example to hold close to our hearts, to encourage us on some future day when our own generous act of giving is not met with a visible act of receiving. When we can allow ourselves to receive as well as give, we do our part to keep the channels of abundance open for ourselves. Sometimes we may find ourselves struggling to respond to others' gift in the same ways, like responding to an expensive present with something equally expensive. or feeling like we have to throw a dinner party for someone who has thrown one for us. But when these are done out of a sense of obligation, their energy changes from something that shares to something that drains. If this sounds familiar, we can decide next time to allow ourselves to receive with arms, minds and hearts open, and simply say thank you. I don't know. This eye opener is a little bit of a doozy for me. Yeah.
Well, while you were reading, I had several thoughts racing through my mind to see how I could best illustrate my own interpretation of the eye opener. And two things come to mind, as I mentioned while you were reading. One is the adage, freely give, freely receive. That is one. The other takes me back to my childhood, right? Where around Christmas time, you engage in the little KK games and what have you. Excuse me. And so I was always discouraged from participating in KK, simply because, just as an example, you might have my name, I might have his name, right? And I go out of my way to make sure that during the class party, the gift that I give him is worth something. In this case, material value, right? Because you're just giving someone because they got your name or you got their name, etc. So a lot of emphasis is placed on the material value of the gift that I'm passing on. But then in return, I get from you something that is not of equal value to the one that I gave. So I walk away feeling slighted. This was me thinking as a child back then, right? In my adulthood, I realized, okay, I need to take into consideration several factors. While I may have to give of a certain material value, I don't know what your situation is that would result in you giving me a biscuit for argument's sake. But to you, being able to give at least a biscuit meant something, as opposed to not participating any at all. So now I could realize and appreciate that. No, back then it was the most difficult thing. But I say all of that to say this. While I may not have gotten that perspective then, thinking back about it years later, it is the kind of insight that one needs to be able to appreciate and share as a matter of learning the meaning of certain things.
I like I said, it was a tricky one for me to understand, but while you were giving your interpretation, it kind of took me back as well. And I will stick to the Christmas gift giving just because that's something that, you know, that's when you try your best, right? Your utmost best to find somebody a present. My dad and my uncle have this tradition that I think I fell in love with it as a child because I thought it was comedic, right? But when they were kids, they never have it like that. But they always made sure that there was something to unwrap for each other on Christmas Day. And whether that be an apple or just, you know, a pencil, it had no kind of material value whatsoever. It was the act of giving and receiving that's what they needed to do. And they carried that tradition up to this day where they're both successful men that can afford to give each other something amazing, and they still stick to that tradition of it's the simple things. And I will give this to my brother because this is something that we have kept from we were kids. And so that notion of just having something genuine, it's the thought that counts. I want to give this, and it is the act of unwrapping with each other. So they all make sure that they give each other the gift and they're there both to unwrap it together.
Because there's a certain bonding that takes place.
Right. And so I guess that genuine feeling of just giving somebody because you know that is part of your tradition, I think that up to this day I hold that in high regard. So whether or not, and it's taught me to appreciate. So Isani, you could go outside right now and pick up a rock and be like, this look like something that April would have liked. Guarantee you April will like it. Right? It's that feeling of genuinely giving and being taught about, that I think that maybe this eye-opener is trying to provide for our viewers. But you at home can have your own interpretation,
One final
right?
thing on the eye-opener too, though, is that it also speaks to the fact that when you are given something that you're not prepared for, and you're sort of taken aback, you're caught by surprise, right? You still have to be humble enough to accept it.
Yeah.
Because it does happen at times where you're given something that you're not prepared for.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, what do I do? Just humbly accept it.
Well, we are humbly accept the weather for this morning. Good morning.
Good morning, good morning.
We're talking about appreciation and acceptance of gifts. So we are appreciating and accepting the gift of weather forecast this morning.
Well, thank you very much.
So give us the general situation for this morning.
Okay, guys, we're still seeing moist and unstable conditions.
And our 24-hour forecast?
All right, so today, well, currently we're still looking at showers and isolated storms over, I would say, central and part of southern Belize. Dangriga is still getting showers, Dalmapan area, San Ignacio, Benki. This will continue for most of this morning, and then we'll see a decrease this afternoon for the entire country. But as I mentioned, it's still moist and unstable, so later tonight we will be seeing an increase again affecting most areas. So tonight we'll be seeing a few showers and isolated thunderstorms around the country.
Oh, wow. Okay, you say isolated thunderstorms. Is there such thing as leave it at thunderstorms?
Well, sometimes thunderstorms, you just hear one clap. That's it. So I would say yes.
And our temperatures are highs and lows?
Okay, for this afternoon, we're seeing 88 along the coast, 92 inland, 82 up in the Maya Mountains. Overnight, 79 along the coast, 73 inland, and 68 up in the Maya Mountains.
Oh, and how is that affecting our winds?
Okay, so winds will be out of the east, 5 to 15 knots, producing light chop seas and 2 to 4 feet waves beyond the reef.
Okay. And what about our outlook for tomorrow and tomorrow night?
Okay, guys, I am sad to say the moisture, the instability will stay around, I would say, I would project for most of this week. So tomorrow we will be seeing showers continuing around the country. It will increase tonight and it will continue tomorrow and tomorrow night. And what I am seeing is like a diurnal pattern, meaning that during the nighttime it increases, during the morning, and then by afternoon, evening it decreases, then it comes back again. So I guess in the next 4 days, April, you tell me, you watch the trend for me.
This weather they play my emotions. any tropical updates, warnings?
Okay, currently there are no tropical system out there, so pretty good news in that area for now.
All right. Well, Francisca, you gave us that lovely update, and I guess we will be keeping up with our friends at the Met Service. Try your best to stay dry this week.
Okay, you too.
Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
You know, it's not surprising. It was a very rainy, gloomy weekend. I don't know about the city, but that's about I understand.
Well, I accept the fact that she does describe the diurnal pattern because indeed, at least here in Belize City, for the better part of last week and even into the weekend, we had rains overnight. Things clear up during the day. For instance, on the 9th night, going into the 10th morning, it rained, but it cleared up enough during the day for the activities to be held. And I think it kind of describes what has been happening over the past few days.
September month, it always rain no matter what. But we're moving into our next segment for this morning with our eye on the news.
So, with the passing of the Queen of England on Thursday morning, has come universal coverage as to what takes place next and all these other scenarios that are playing out. But I won't speak on what is happening in the UK. I'll speak on the conversations that are taking place in Belize as a result of the passing of Queen Elizabeth II. You would realize that the memes were quick to fly on Thursday with respect of the Belizean dollar and what face replaces that of Queen Elizabeth II.
Yeah.
So much so that because it became a trending conversation, we got the weigh-in of the Central Bank of Belize on the likelihood of a succession, so to speak, someone else succeeding her on the dollar bill. And what is interesting about what was shared with us on Friday by the governor of the central bank are several things. The amount that we currently have in reserve that carry her likeness and the amount or the costliness of doing away with her likeness. So in other words, if we're saying we'll remove Queen Elizabeth's face from all of these notes, it's called a family, right?
Yeah.
A family of notes that range from a 1-cent piece all the way to $100, right? So if we're going to do away with her likeness and replace it with someone else, perhaps a Belizean national hero, right? While that may be fine and well in concept, to actually go about doing that is going to be a costly undertaking that we may not be prepared for financially, right? And I'm just putting that out there because there was the conversation, albeit informally on Thursday, because we kind of made light of the situation, but to identify the news value of what was being discussed. So we went to Central Bank, and Central Bank gave us the rundown as to how these things take place, how these things happen. And so it's not to burst anyone's bubble, but the Queen of England the late Queen of England, I should say, on the dollar bill isn't going anywhere anytime soon, simply because there's also the fact that greater trust, if I may, is placed on someone who is older, and in this case who has passed on, that their history, their legacy remains intact. The other part of the argument that was being put forward is to say, look, as man is fallible, if we put someone there who is still very much active, right, and something goes wrong, like a scandal or something, then that person is disgraced, then the dollar bill will forever remind us of this individual's downfall, so to speak, versus someone who is, you know, who has passed on, or someone whose legacy has been enshrined, in a manner of speaking. That doesn't go anywhere.
I mean, I would go a step further to say that I think as Belizeans, we're still gathering more information on our history and the persons that have been actively involved in shaping the foundations of what we have in present day society. So we still haven't been able to properly come to an agreement. I don't know if we ever will as society when it comes to who should be a national hero, who shouldn't be, is it political, is it not, you know, all of these variables that we have to consider when we're talking about putting them on our monies. And then I'll take it a step further to say that, does it have to just be one individual? Do we do it like the United States, where a hero for a different bill, how much will that cost us, etc.? And I think that there was conversation circulating around the value of our monies if we remove the Queen from our bill.
Well, that concern was easily allayed. It doesn't lose value. It does not. The governor explained what gives the note its value. It has nothing to do with the aesthetic or superficial aspect of it. Right? So that's one part of the discussion. The other part of it was led by the Minister of Education, who we spoke with on Thursday morning, right around the time of Queen Elizabeth's passing. And he was saying, well, perhaps it's right for us to consider looking at the monarchical system, one, and two, looking at our system of governance and see where we go with that conversation.
Yeah.
When we talk about our system of governance, we're looking at the Westminster model, right, where we adopted that from England as a concept, a political concept, if I could use that description. And so it's an interesting conversation because it would force, and this is hypothetical, it would force a move in a different direction if we were to do away with this age-old system of governance that we employ, right? What model do we then adopt?
Yeah.
Because there are all these other models out there that fit any political ideology, but we would have to, as a nation, find the one that's most suitable for us, right?
Yes.
And if we're still fledgling in a manner of speaking, then while we can on one hand say we could explore to high heavens, on the other hand we could say, well, look, maybe so far this has been working for us, and if the wheel isn't broken, there shouldn't be an attempt to fix it.
But some people will say that if we are moving towards a system of decolonizing our foundations, decolonizing our curriculum, and so forth, it would have to be an area to explore.
Yeah.
And it would challenge us as Belizeans to seek examples or influences from different nations, and perhaps create a new system for us. You know, grab all of these influences that work, that we can find suitable for our Belizean culture, and put it together. It's not impossible. It will just be something that will take a longer period of time to formulate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Two other pieces that I want to touch on quickly. So on the 10th of September, the actual ceremony and the activity was held at the House of Culture,
Yes.
right? Which is a departure from the norm, because many of them have been held at the Memorial Park, right? But nonetheless, it was really warming to see all of these government officials, these dignitaries. The Governor General as well was a part of it, and of course the Queen of the Bay, right, was also there.
It was the official coronation of the Queen of the Bay.
Indeed,
Yes.
right?
And also the official coronation of King Charles III on that very same day.
They were happening near
It was
simultaneously, right?
yeah, even though they were 8 hours ahead, it was technically
Yeah.
happening simultaneously, yes. But it is a long-standing tradition of sorts that, you know, commemorates the September celebrations for the 10th in particular, the
Yeah.
10th day. And the Queen of the Bay has its own history separated from the Battle of St. George's
Yeah.
Key.
You have
You know,
placed with
and so, and it's actually relatively new. A lot of people think that it's from the old 1800s, 90s. It's relatively new. It's mid 1970s. Yeah. So it's not. It's something of its own origin, and I think that for the most part, the young ladies that have taken place this particular year are now, you know, required to have mandates, required to, you know, have a particular year where they're going to execute philanthropical duties. They have to be able to participate in certain events for the community and so forth. So it's gone beyond what it used to be, just a pretty girl pageant, right? It's gone beyond that.
Yeah.
And the young lady that won, Maslin Hansen, she's already begun her duties, you know, before this coronation. So it was a particularly nice event. I was there, and it rained. So when Francisca was talking about the weather conditions, we're like, yeah, it rained, we know. But nevertheless, Maslin Hansen is the Queen of the Bay, and she's going to be, starting her year
Yes.
of community service, because that's what it is.
Duties, indeed.
Yes.
So yeah, I just wanted to highlight that as well as part of what was taking place over the weekend, right? So definitely we will be covering these stories and more later on in the newscast this evening, right? But that does it for us this morning on the Eye on the News.
And we're moving into our show's preview for this morning. We have very wonderful segments for us today. The Ministry of Human Development will be in studio to discuss child abuse and other particular works that the department has been working on for the past few months.
And our second conversation, as we alluded to earlier, the Queen of the Bay will be joining us in studio once again to discuss her role in that seat, so to speak, and of course, what her activities will be going forward for her reign.
Okay. But before we get into all of that, we have a short break, and then we'll be back for more OIE, so stay tuned.
Hola usuario de eCash, la aplicación eCash está disponible en español. Cambiar el idioma de tu aplicación de eCash de inglés a español es rápido y sencillo. Déjame mostrarte cómo se hace. Primero, abre tu aplicación eCash. Introduce tu PIN. Toca el icono More en la parte inferior de tu pantalla. Selecciona Security. Selecciona Language. Y luego selecciona Spanish. Vuelve a introducir tu PIN y ya está. Tu aplicación de eCash está ahora en español y puedes seguir disfrutando de tu cartera digital eCash. La aplicación eCash de Belize Bank te hace la vida más fácil.
V-Bucks by Beniz, Belize's newest multi-brand rewards program. To access V-Bucks, download the mobile app or access the website portal at bbucks.bz and set up your account. If you already have a Beniz account, chances are you already have V-Bucks. Don't let them go to waste. To earn V-Bucks, make a purchase at any Beniz location or at any of these Beniz entities, namely Island Freight Forwarders, Best Manufacturing, Benquip, and B-Mart. Once V-Bucks are earned, reward yourself. Use V-Bucks to buy items or exchange for cash. You can also double, triple, or even quadruple your V-Bucks on promotional days. It is simple. Purchase, earn, redeem. Loyalty is always rewarding with V-Bucks. Brought to you by Beniz, celebrating 75 years of quality and savings.
Make your summer better. Over $35,000 in cash and prizes with Smart Summer Sweepstakes. Here's how you can enter for a chance to win. Purchase any device, sign up for a smart postpaid, broadband, or VoIP plan, use $50 or more regular prepaid credit, do a SIM swap, or text to the short code. You win 8946. And in the body of the message, enter the number of entries you would like to purchase. Each entry costs only 50 cents.
Don't waste any time. You can be the winner of weekly prizes starting July 1st. All methods give you more chances to win. Airline tickets, overnight stays at numerous resorts, cash prizes, gift certificates, and much, much more. One lucky person will win the grand prize of a $10,000 shopping spree courtesy Court and Smart.
Promotion ends September 16, 2022. So make your summer better by getting in the race to win with Smart Summer Sweepstakes. Smart, bringing people together.
Galenia Hospital, located in Cancun, Mexico's premier tourism destination, is a state-of-the-art healthcare facility that provides highly specialized medical services. We are Quintana Roo's biggest private hospital with board-certified doctors and staff. Some of our services include cath lab, adult intensive care unit, neonatal intensive care unit, emergency rooms, operating theaters, ambulance services, and more. We are a medically accredited hospital by JCI, Accreditation Canada International, and General Health Council, providing extraordinary care in every specialty, from our cardiology department to our neurology center. We are focused on treating the entire person, body, mind, and spirit. Contact us at medicaltourism@hospitalgalenia.com or visit our website at www.hospitalgalenia.com. Come to Galenia Hospital in Cancun for a truly personal medical care experience.
Great Belize Productions Channel 5, proud winner of 9 Caribbean Media Awards for 2021. Best Investigative Report, Best News Item, Best Coverage of People with Disabilities, Best Financial Literacy Journalism, Best Videographer, Best Television Commercial Spot, and the People's Choice Award, with 2 special mentions for Financial Literacy Journalism.
Are you looking for low-cost television advertising? Have we got a deal for you? Advertise on Channel 5's Daily Classifieds. Channel 5's Daily Classifieds is one of the most effective methods for introducing yourself and your business to the community. Use our Daily Classifieds to recruit employees, promote specials, promote your products or services, promote a business opportunity, increase traffic to your website, and advertise items you have for sale. Let us help you to save valuable time and money. Call us today at 280-0013 or visit us at our offices on Coney Drive to discuss how we can help your business grow affordably. Channel 5's Daily Classifieds. Advertise today.
This morning, as we mentioned prior to the commercial break, is a discussion with our friends from the Ministry of Human Development to discuss the issue of child abuse. That being said, we have Georgia Oshan, the Human Development Officer at the Ministry, with us. Good morning, Georgia. We also have Lori Cunningham. She's a Community Development Officer, also from the Ministry of Human Development. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
The discussion surrounding child abuse, I would gather, is a very broad one,
Exactly.
as it manifests itself in various forms, right? I'll ask you guys where you want us to begin from, considering how broad a topic child abuse is.
So, Ms. Cunningham will speak about what is child abuse first, so to have the audience understand what we are coming from.
So everyone has their own definition of what child abuse is. According to the Families and Children's Act, Section 47, it stipulates that child abuse is not limited, but is basically the infliction on a child, sexually, physically, psychologically, emotionally, and ill treatment of any child. We deal a lot with neglect, and there is a thin line between willful neglect and unwillful neglect. As it relates to neglect, it's the ability that a person has to be able to provide for that child, but refuses to. So that's a thin line and thin difference there between willful and unwillful neglect, which is all a part of child abuse.
So let's gear towards environment, right? Since you brought up that subject, lately we've been seeing a lot of what the media we would consider to be abuse or negligence in that matter. Belize has a high poverty rate, and therefore we would kind of have that line be a little bit blurred in certain aspects, right? So where does the Ministry of Human Development come in when it comes to that environment then producing that unwillful neglect?
It's all based on the assessment and our investigation. We're looking at the environment. If a person is unable to provide, we cannot say that is neglect. We would try to use whatever services that we have to offer to help enhance this family so that they would be able to provide the basic needs, clothing, shelter, what's not for the child. In the event that the family has it and refuses to provide, example, medical care. We have access to medical care, but if a parent or so would be negligent in the fact of actually taking that child to a medical health care, then that would automatically seem as neglect if they have the ability.
But within the ministry, we have different departments. So we have the families, the Women's and Family Service Department. So basically, that department we do kind of preventative work even before the family or that client move over to the Department of Human Service, which basically do child protection. So basically, when that family could get some sort of referral to them, so they would do like rental assistance, they do food assistance, and so all of that kind of farm preventative work. And so there is a section that do empowerment, so that mother, that parent would then get enrolled in a job readiness program, and so all of that kind of support the family from coming into the system.
So let's talk about abuse itself and how we can, as a Belizean society, right, we have a particular culture when it comes to discipline, right? And so where do the lines cross from discipline to abuse? And I'm kind of talking more on the lines of physical abuse, right? Because that's kind of what we're used to here in this society. So where do they blur? Where do they meet?
So for me, I think that's what we were used to. With the new era, I guess we kind of move away from that corporal punishment, and I know the whole scope of being discipline has changed. We have shift. I sure in your days you used to get a spanking. Now it's kind of talking to the child, and so not inflicting that sort of punishment, but kind of gearing them towards changing the whole behavior pattern with just talking to the child. And so we are now focusing on not spanking, but kind of talking to the child. I mean, showing the child what is right from what is wrong.
Without inflicting.
Exactly.
Can I jump in? Can I jump in here?
Of course, of course.
Okay, so traditionally, we've been taught that to spare the rod is to spoil the child. That is one school of thought that many of us grew up.
Old school.
Yeah. But now we've moved away, or we're moving away from that idea of discipline to include having frank and open discussions with our children and showing them the consequences of certain decisions, right and wrong, as you've mentioned, right? But some would argue that corporal punishment, is not necessarily child abuse or physical abuse, right? Because we're saying, okay, if we were spanked when we were younger for not doing the right thing, in many cases it's not as if though perhaps a broomstick was broken on us. Maybe that's an extreme version of spanking someone, right? But we walked away in a sense with a lesson learned, that we'll no longer do what it was that we were doing wrong. And we never really held it against our parents that kind of way, right? But when you look at where we are now, where we have children of our own, if I grew up being spanked for not listening or for not obeying certain things that my parents asked me to do or not to do, when I look at how I discipline my children, I don't have to spank, I just talk to them. But in the back of my mind, if talking to the child won't get through to the child, eventually then a spanking is in order. And I wouldn't walk away feeling as if though I've done the wrong thing or I've abused my child. It's the fact that perhaps we've exhausted this process of being able to have a discussion for you to learn what to do and what not to do.
And so that still come with that conversation, so the child will know, okay, this is what I am being disciplined for.
But then there is a particular sense of trauma that comes when you have aged after, you know, being spanked, right? So it's not just I am inflicting this particular punishment because you have done wrong. It's I am inflicting this particular punishment, and as the child I don't understand why I am being punished. So I think that is where we are kind of gearing towards. I don't think people still stop spanking and picnic. I think that people are doing it with
more discipline, because understanding this is why I'm doing this, this is why you should not do this, and have the whole full conversation like you rightfully said. I mean, days gone by you used to get spanking, now you have a child, you know that you can have that conversation, and so based on that conversation the child behavior will change or shift somewhat with that conversation after explaining everything with the child. And so in most time, because the child grew up having that conversation, even when you're saying, you know what, I will spank you, and so just that thought, like what you said, because the child know that come with some level trauma and inflicting that trauma, so the child whole behavior change.
Well, here's another interesting thing, right? What I've noticed has happened over time is that we've traded in the belt or the broomstick or whatever it is, the whip, for words that are equally, if not more so, hurtful. So we've gone from physical abuse to verbal abuse, where the parent or the adult in the scenario verbally berates the child. That doesn't help the situation either, because if you're trying to curb a behavior, then going from hitting to making a person feel less of an individual with the words you're using doesn't really help the situation.
It causes the child to grow up with low self-esteem and low self-confidence, right? Yeah.
So then rightfully so, again, and I guess this is where it's a little bit difficult to discuss certain lines, right? How do you as a parent or a guardian understand that this is or is trained to say, I am punishing my child with good intent and not abusing my child?
I think there is no such thing as punishing with good intent. Disciplining my child. And so when you say punishing, to me, just the thought of punishing, that exactly the word punishing. So to me, we need to just kind of shift from that punishing, but just discipline, because what you want, that basically if you curve the behavior, so you just want to discipline the child. And so go back to Isanita. You know, there was a saying that says, sticks and bone can break my back, but words won't. And that is exactly, no, the words is
cut
more
deeper.
Exactly than the sticks and
the words
so
leave a lifetime scar that don't appear in your skin, but
exactly mentally it's there.
So with kids that have endured these types of abuses, and you know, one of the types that we've been covering on the media quite a lot lately is sexual abuse, right? Physical harm without consent on a child. And I don't know if all of these other forms of abuse have caused for children not to speak out, or they don't know how to speak out against an adult that has sexually abused them.
And so I would say that some of the case come with all of those trauma. I will give you an example. We had one case that came into the department, and it was sexual. But if you understand the process, this individual started with physical abuse. So that one child will endure all the level. And so the child was with a stepfather, physical abuse, and so to the extreme. When he wanted to move over to sexual abuse, then he will kind of tell the child, okay, for this behavior to stop, then you have to be good to me. And so being good to me then started with the sexual abuse. And so because there were so many pain within the physical, she wanted that to stop. And so from that stopping, then it started with the sexual, and so it progressed until it reached the extreme. And so that one child basically went through all those levels, but because of the perp, he knew how to groom and then move forward and manipulate exactly the whole child. And so with the physical, he did threaten the child, and so the child was very fearful. I mean, telling the child like all sorts of things, going to kill the mother. I mean, and so you could see like the pattern within that abuse.
The most unfortunate scenarios, though, are the ones where you have an abuser and you have someone who is complicit, in the sense that the child is a victim in the heart of that situation. But if the child hasn't been given an environment that fosters open communication with at least one of the parents to tell them enough what is taking place, then when the child does make an attempt to say, hey, look, I am being molested, or I'm being this or that, the other parent tends to not want to believe. So the child is left having to deal with that on his or her own, and the cycle continues. It's a perpetuation.
And when you have that one parent that is inflicting the abuse and is the breadwinner of the family, and so that kind of make the situation difficult, because like in most cases the mom would be like, if we left this way happen, what part we going?
What are we going to eat? What's going to happen
Exactly.
next?
And so they put that burden on the child now to kind of muffle that abuse, because we have to stay and endure it because we don't have no way out.
You were gonna
Yeah. Also, the disciplinary measures that we discussed earlier. When we would hit a child, they automatically get fearful of their parents. So sexual abuse happens outside of the household. They oftentimes are afraid to talk up to their primary caregiver or their parent because of that fear that is instilled with them regarding the disciplinary techniques. And so we would have to be very careful there, and that is why relationship building is very important, and having open discussions with our children.
As an outsider, right, as a neighbor or a friend, how can we detect signs of sexual abuse on a child?
The personality of that child changes. You would often see that sometimes children that are very outgoing and outspoken would start to somewhat isolate themselves, would get quiet, you know. Some of them would be straight up, you know, and say what happens, but you definitely see a change in that child's behavior.
I think in some households, and I'll use mine as an example here, right? From a very early age, we're teaching our kids what is a good touch and what is a bad touch, right?
Exactly.
And then we're telling our kids, no matter what happens out there with anyone, feel free to come and tell us, and then we'll address the situation accordingly. But that comes with an openness. You have to be able to speak with the child and listen to what the child says in response. It's not just talking to, it's also listening and allowing the child to have a voice and express, his or her voice. And I think when you don't have that, the child does not know who to turn to and how to express him or herself in a situation where they know they are being taken advantage of based on certain things. Because touching a child in a certain kind of way, hitting a child, automatically that child knows something is wrong, right? But if he doesn't have or she doesn't have anyone to say, hey mom, this happened earlier, enough for her mom to say, you know what, that was right or that was wrong. They just don't say anything. Then, as I mentioned earlier, the whole cycle continues to repeat itself. And I can only think of the psychological effect of that later on. Because now when you endure all of that as a child, you survive it, so to speak. When you become an adult and you become a parent, then you begin to exhibit the same.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
or you become overprotective of your child. And so trusting no one, fearing everyone, and kind of shelter that child, rather than have that open conversation that you didn't have as a child with your parent.
So what steps is the ministry then taking to provide education to the public when it comes to these kinds of conversations?
Hence the reason we are here. We are doing sensitization like across the board. We have a 0800 protect number that is 24/7 working. We do mandatory training to teachers, and we did it with, I think, some JPs and all of that. We do continuous training and sensitization to the public in terms of child protection, because as our statistics show, last year we had, I guess, 1,327 total cases, and for January to July we are up over 700 already for the first half of the year. So child abuse is on the rise.
And those are particular types of abuses, or just
we have it by district. We have it different issue, abandonment, emotional abuse, sexual, and so you kind of separated.
But there's a distinction between a claim versus perhaps an investigation that determines that in fact there is a case of abuse.
What we call it substantiated cases. Yeah.
And how does the ministry collect these statistics?
So we have an electronic database that all information would then come onto that database.
I just asked because as a child, I don't know how many. Who would they tell? Would they tell a teacher, a parent, a friend that something is not right at home?
So child abuse can come in any form. It could be a friend, somebody just reported in what we said in good faith, and so any case that come, we under the aspersion that that person is reported in good faith, and so we will then take that information and do that investigation. And no matter who, what, where, when give that information, we will investigate it. And so we have a pretty good family care system that kind of collect all of that data.
Is there any outreach aspect? I ask because perhaps in a situation these individuals come seeking the assistance. Is there any kind of outreach where you guys go out into the community and try to, address certain cases without it coming to you necessarily?
The thing is, we need information. So basically, whatever information we have, it doesn't matter how small or the information, based on that we kind of map it out how we could go. One of the biggest part of our investigation is like going to the school. More likely if we have cases that would come in that the purpose unknown, the child is unknown. And so we kind of narrow it down to maybe they live in this area, they go to that school and all of that. And so we then will go out and kind of figure out all of those information. One of our biggest fan right now is Facebook, Instagram. And so we kind of map all of that during that investigation on Facebook, connect this one with that one. And so we have our staff very young, and so they're very savvy in terms of that. And so we could get a full investigation from nothing, practically.
So can you repeat the number one more time? You said
it's 0800 Protect, and that's a 24-hour hotline mandated by someone.
It's interesting.
So during 8 to 5, it's over to the Department of Human Service, and then after 5, it goes over to police. But we have a social worker on call 24/7.
Specifically in Belize City and Cayo.
Okay. It's interesting, just to go back a bit, it's interesting that you would mention social media. You'd be surprised how much information you could glean from Facebook based on either confirmed reports or allegations of physical or sexual abuse, because people are so open with their lives online now that while they may not necessarily go to the department to lodge a complaint, they'll upload a picture or they'll give a testimony of what happened, and it gives you the material to begin
needed
from.
to do the investigation. Exactly.
So once again, just for our viewers, when it comes to how you gather statistics for your database, and then in turn the Ministry of Human Development will do an investigation. What happens after the investigation is taken place?
So it depends on the findings of that case. We have to investigate all allegations. So it doesn't matter if we don't believe that it is true. We have to go out and do our investigation, carry out our assessment, and depending on the findings, then we would work with the family. The department tries firstly or primarily to work with the family within that household. In the event, depending on the risk, if the risk is very high and a removal would need to happen outside of that household, then we would try to place a child with their relative or family members and work with other entities, because human development cannot do it alone. You know, we need the community at large. We work closely with the police department, medical system. It all depends on the situation to try and uplift this family, empower them so that they can have a safe and nurturing environment for that child to eventually be reunified back at home. So the department, apart from social workers having to investigate the case, we need to case manage. Whether that would be further follow-up, whether that would mean that we need to go to the court, what's not, and everything is basically documented on our system with what we do. So if we go into a household and there is nothing, then it would mark on our system that it's unsubstantiated. If there is something, then you would see the trend there that the allegation is substantiated, and this is the intervention that the social worker will put in place.
Is there a rehabilitation program for the child afterwards?
We do have rehabilitation program depending again on that situation. We have counseling that the children from the traumatic experience that they encounter that they would be able to access. We actually have another unit that works within the ministry, which is the Community Rehabilitation Department. They mostly deal with children that are considered uncontrollable behavior, those that would get in conflict with the law. that they would place at what we call New Beginnings that offers that service to them as well.
Oh.
I'm just processing.
I'm processing it too. So I feel that we could carry on this conversation just because this is a very relatable topic. I feel that the idea of corporal punishment is something that still is systematically in place, whether some parents are trying to gear towards more of a open conversation dialogue with their kids. But is there anything in particular that the ministry would like to tell our viewers when it comes to child abuse and how to be a champion for kids, I guess?
I think it's basically if you see something or know something, say something. And so like I said, there is 0800, that is 24 hours. Whatever information you have, you share it, and we will surely go out and do the investigation.
Well, we would like to thank you ladies so much for dropping by. You're welcome anytime. If there is anything else that our viewers will be required to know, we'll let you guys know, so you come back in and talk to us. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
But Georgia, Lori, thank you so much. And with that, we are going to take our next break, and we'll be back with our second conversation for this morning, so stay tuned.
Technology is ubiquitous, and it's transforming how, when, and where we work. Fulltech Systems is placing award-winning devices in the hands of information workers, allowing them to work without compromise in a world without wires, to innovate, create, and to maximize productivity anytime, anywhere, satisfying the needs of the desk-centric remote and field worker and every other worker in between. We are providing the industry's best devices to businesses going through the process of digital transformation. Partner with us today to provide the solutions that will allow your employees to work effectively and efficiently to enhance your customers' experience. Fulltech Systems, your technology center, where you'll come for the price but stay for the service.
What is Amnesty 2022? An opportunity for undocumented immigrants living in Belize. Belize wants to help you to live freely and continue contributing to those communities you and your family now call home by offering a pathway to permanent residency. Why should you apply? In doing so, you remove barriers and reduce the difficulties faced living as an undocumented immigrant. Applying is easy. Go online to www.immigration.gov.bz for more information. Find out if you qualify, how to apply, what documents you need, and how to book your appointment. Be prepared. The registration period will be from the 2nd of August to the 30th of November 2022. Belize Amnesty 2022. Let's continue to build Belize together.
If you have a baby on the way, here is what you need to know about maternity benefit. It includes both an allowance for 14 weeks and a grant, which is a lump sum of $300. The basic requirements are: you must be employed, you must have at least 50 paid contributions, and you must have continuous contributions leading up to delivery. To apply, a licensed doctor certifies the expected date of delivery. The employer completes the salaries record. Submit your completed claim form as soon as possible. After giving birth, submit your continuation claim no later than 3 weeks after delivery. If the mother does not qualify, the father of the child may qualify for the maternity grant. Want to know more about maternity benefit or grant? Visit our website or contact any of our offices to have someone assist you. Also, be sure to visit our Facebook page and give us a like to stay informed. Social Security Board, safeguarding you, your family, your future.
Great Belize Productions Channel 5, proud winner of 9 Caribbean Media Awards for 2021. Best Investigative Report, Best News Item, Best Coverage of People with Disabilities, Best Financial Literacy Journalism, Best Videographer, Best Television Commercial Spot, and the People's Choice Award, with 2 special mentions for Financial Literacy Journalism.
Are you looking for low-cost television advertising? Have we got a deal for you? Advertise on Channel 5's Daily Classifieds. Channel 5's Daily Classifieds is one of the most effective methods for introducing yourself and your business to the community. Use our Daily Classifieds to recruit employees, promote specials, promote your products or services, promote a business opportunity, increase traffic to your website, and advertise items you have for sale. Let us help you to save valuable time and money. Call us today at 280-0013 or visit us at our offices on Coney Drive to discuss how we can help your business grow affordably. Channel 5's Daily Classifieds. Advertise today.
So, stay tuned. Thanks, Jen. Hey there, we know you have to head out to work shortly, but don't forget that you can stay tuned by watching us on our Facebook live stream. Find us at Open Your Eyes BZ, and you can continue watching there. You can also download Facebook Watch on your streaming device, and you can watch at your own convenience.
And for all the behind-the-scenes fun, follow us on Instagram at OYE Belize. So,
find us
and follow us
today.
So that means the Queen of the Bay crown goes back to Stan Creek District for the first time in 5 years. Maslin, congratulations. Maslin, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling empowered right now. I made a difference. First time my village is taking away the crown at the National Queen of the Bay pageant.
Congratulations on a job well done.
Thank you.
Wow, wow, wow. And there you have it, the official winner of the Queen of the Bay from Stan Creek District, Maslin Hanson. Joining us via Zoom, Queen of the Bay, Maslin Hanson. How are you feeling?
Good morning.
Good morning.
At this time, I'm feeling well. It's a good day. It's really a lovely day today. So I'm feeling really good today.
Well, that's it. That piece we just covered was your winnings, and then of course you had your official coronation this weekend. Talk to us about your journey since. So you won Queen of the Bay a couple of weeks ago, and now you've officially been coronated. What is the process been like, and where are your first duties going to take place?
Okay, so the process from winning the title to having my coronation, it was actually, it turned out to be a bittersweet moment because on September 9th, I was with my grandma as she took her last breath. And we had a close connection, and she was already excited to go and see me at the coronation on Saturday. But life comes with its unexpected changes. So, you know, in that glorious moment that I will remember forever, I will also remember what I had experienced over the weekend. But nevertheless, it was a remarkable journey, one that I will remember forever, one that I know that I was in the homes of many Belizeans as they witnessed me getting coronated. So I think it's just a plus.
I crowned thee.
So allow me to extend my heartfelt sympathies to you and your family. Our deepest condolences from our end. You've mentioned a bittersweet feeling being on the stage at this particular moment where you are being crowned. Describe for us that moment in some detail.
As much as it was exciting to be crowned, I really wish that, both of my grandparents were there with me that day to witness it in person, because in reality, going up in this pageant had always been a dream of mine. And it was one that they were the first person to know that I wanted to go up in this pageant, because I was at their house watching the pageant with them. And I just looked at my grandma and said, one day I'm going up for that pageant. And this year I was like, okay, I got the age, I have the time, and it will help me further myself, build my platform to do the things I love to do. And they were so accepting, and they're like, you should go for it. So at that time I was like, okay, this is my year, I'm going up for this pageant. And even though I was a bit scared and nervous to actually, say I'm going to stay in, they were encouraging, and they were like, stay in, Maslin, you can do it, just go and do your best. And I stayed in and I did my best, and I am now the National Queen of the Bay. And at the night of the pageant, many people say that there's a distinction between me because of all the titles that I won along with the national title. So I really did my best, and I can say that anything that I did was in honor of my grandparents, to have them making them proud.
Maslin, I'll tell you something. It did not show. You were graceful and elegant that entire pageant, that entire ceremony, that entire event. You were 100% gracious. I don't think anybody in that audience saw the slightest bit of bittersweetness in your smile and in your presence that day. So along with Isani, I do extend my deepest condolences to you and your family. But I will give you a little bit of kind words by saying that your grandmother was still with you when you officially won your title. So let's talk about your winning and that support. So now that you are officially the queen, what are your duties looking like?
Well, my duties are to continue my advocacy, but not only that, but be an inspiration to the little girls or the children that are around me, being a role model that they can look up to, especially in my village. The students can now say, okay, if she can do something as winning a national title, what can I do? She went to the same primary school as me, she went to the same high school as me. What can I do now to go there and make a change and put my village on the map also? So that's something that really stands out to me while holding this title. But to also do the things that I'm passionate about, I knew that there was the Literacy Day. So I went to my alma mater, Hope Creek Methodist Primary School, and then I went to read a book to the classroom, and I chose the book, This Crack Rocks, and that book was given to me when I went to the Belize Zoo camp, and in that book there was a picture of me. So I was just showing the students, even at a young age, there are things you can do and you won't even know that you'll be recognized for it. You just have to put yourself out there. And that picture was taken when I was at a younger age, when I entered the Belize Eco Kid Challenge, essay writing competition from Chakrik. And I got selected, my brother and I, And we went to Chalk Creek and we were Eco Kids for a week, and that's an experience that I always share with younger kids, you know. If you know that you have something to do, you just have to go for it.
Yeah. You spoke about advocacy. Can you give us some more information and details about that? There's so many different ways that you are able to contribute to your community. Let's dive into that, because you seem to be somebody that you're in everything. So let's talk more about what type of advocacy you're talking about.
Well, my advocacy right now is basically empowering youths and children. I plan to go and make some school appearances wherever I go and, you know, give good advice to the kids. But I really want to work closely with the Children's Parliament this year. So then when they have their sitting on November 28th, I really want to be a part of that. I want to mentor kids and teach them about our government processes, and also the keynote to be a good debater, because I'm in the debate club and I'm still learning. But what I have learned so far, I want to share with others because they are good advice.
Well, Maslin, right now you can't be with us in studio because we understand you're preparing for a test. So I personally don't know how you have been juggling school, all of your other extracurricular activities, and now winning Queen of the Bay. Can you please give us some advice as to how you are juggling all of these different entities?
Well, I get asked this question a lot. My answer always remains the same. It's all about having good multitasking skills, discipline, and above all, passion for what you do. Because if you can't
Okay, we're having a bit of technical difficulties with the Zoom.
Sorry about that.
That is fine.
If you don't have passion for what you do, then you won't be able to juggle all these titles because you'll easily get tired. So if you have passion, then that, you know, sparks you to say, okay, I'm in this and I want to do this, and this is how I will do it. So multitasking, discipline, and passion.
I mean, it sounds a lot easier said than done.
We're still struggling with that as professionals. I mean, wearing multiple hats during the course of the work day and then going home and putting on a different hat. We're still trying to, you know, get a grip on that. So kudos to you.
Right, definitely. Maslin, talk to us. You have an entire year, right? You have an entire year to fulfill your duties as Queen of the Bay. So apart from the Children's Parliament, is there anything else that you're passionate about that you would like to see yourself doing as a part of your mandate?
Well, I'm also a nursing student, so, you know, if I can get some work in with the healthcare system in Belize, that's an addition for me to do something in that area. But I also usually take part in the activities at every celebration. There's something we do. So every activity that's up and I'm free, I will make time to join it.
Have you ever considered helping other young ladies do internships in certain clinics and so forth as a part of your mandate?
Yes, Mom. I also was planning to take over maybe a ward in a hospital because in January I'll be starting my practicum.
Okay.
So maybe at KHMH I can speak to the matron and ask them to, you know, help with a ward, especially maybe the pediatrics ward where there are children there, you know, help with decorating the ward or, you know, assisting however I can with the children that are in the ward there.
Maslin, maybe if you can tilt your phone to landscape so that we can see your video a little bit better. There you go. Perfect. Right, so I want to discuss more about your schooling and your journey. So you are in your second year of your pharmacy studies, yes? And you plan to
my year.
Your first year?
My third.
Your third year.
Third.
Okay.
Yes, Mom.
So, how are you planning to juggle school and Queen of the Bay? I mean, pharmacy is a lot of work. How are you planning to juggle community service, your pharmacy, and Queen of the Bay? Where do you put your priorities? Because I know you talked about what you're passionate about, but how do you prioritize this?
Well, when I set up my schedule for the school year, I made sure that there was a day for studying. So I have classes throughout the week, but there are my days specifically for studying. My priority will always be my education because that's what I'm actually paying for. That's what I need to progress in future. Education is important. So that's where my priorities are. But I can't only do one thing and stick to it. I'm always a person that is busy with other things and juggling everything at the same time. That's how I work. That's how I manage to go through life happy. So I will go and I will prioritize my studies, but wherever I can and make time to do other stuff, I will continue working because I think life will be boring if it's only school and studying.
Yeah, I was just about to ask you, sorry, how do you balance your extracurricular activities? Because while, yes, we respect that school comes first and then now the Queen and her responsibility comes second, you're still only Maslin Hanson. You still wake up and feel lazy at times. You still, want to go and hang out with friends. How do you balance all of these other aspects of your life?
I think my friends and family understand what a busy person I am. So they're like, are you free? And I was like, yes, I'll make time for you. I have to make time for family because I grew up in a family rented home whereby, on our spare time, we go and we sit and we talk to each other and we just enjoy each other's time. So even with myself, my mom has 6 kids, so I have 5 siblings and I'm the eldest female. So, I have to make family time every single day because my little siblings adore their sister. They adore their mother. So every day I have family time in it, and then my family also helps me with my studying because when I don't know something, I go to my aunts. When I want to teach someone, even if they don't want to listen to me, I just go around them and I sit down and I'm, Mom, you know what this is about? Okay, let me tell you about the processes of this. And this is how this works. Even if they don't want to hear it, I'm still sharing. So I incorporate studying with my family time and I also do it with my friends.
Well, Maslin, I have to congratulate you on a job well done. It seems that you're going to be a very busy young lady for the next few. I think even after your duties are being fulfilled, you will be doing more so and with your advocacy. Are there any final words that you'd like to give our viewers as the official Queen of the Bay?
I want to tell the viewers thank you for your support and your encouragement throughout this journey. I noticed there wasn't any negative feedback, which I am thankful to the media for, and that everyone seemed to be satisfied with how everything went down. And I am really grateful for that. I'm grateful that everyone was also proud of me also. So thank you, and I hope that you guys will continue to support me as I venture off into new adventures.
Well said. Love the words from our official Queen of the Bay, Maslin Hanson. Thank you so much for joining us via Zoom, and good luck with your 2 tests that you have for today.
Thank you, and have a nice day also.
You too.
Thank you. With that, we are going to take our final break, and we'll be back for a wrap-up.
The birth of my nation, freedom and an identity. Play my anthem, raise my flag. Proudly, I shall be this September 21st because of that glorious day in 1981. The Right Honorable George Caleb Price, whose fight to independence gave every Belizean a voice through voting rights. Supreme
principal architect and father of this nation, put into action that we should be a country of the people and gave birth to the first political party. Our forefathers worked tirelessly to leave behind a legacy. They labored, they progressed, developing transportation systems, railways, mule and cart, canoes and cargo boats, movement by land and sea. From the lagoon to salt trade, our economy bloomed by means of mahogany dye, sugar and banana exportation. Belize, a rich haven, who could deny? Oh, the vast resources of which you constitute, it's no wonder we continue to fight this territorial dispute. Education being of limited access and women had fewer opportunities. But Belize, you were young. I can see a more progressive you now. From our first Governor General, the late Dr. Dame Minita Gordon, to our current Dame Froila Salam. You have empowered our women that every little Belizean girl can aspire to become the next Prime Minister. We continue to build a nation on industrialization, from the agro to aquaculture, citrus, bananas, peppers, sugar, to coconut oil. Oh, and the maker of it all, tourism, our more prominent income generator, promoting more employment opportunities. Belize, I can see your crown gracing us in your evening gown. I know you've been through a lot lately. A pandemic that tried to break us, shutting down our economy, employment losses leading to inflation may have shook us, but to his ignorance only propelled us into the future. Education, now accessible right inside our homes through the Digi-Wi-Fi school expansion project. E-governance, digitalizing Belize, improvement of transportation from the historical James Bus Line to the new riding style Floralia. Look here, Belize bounce back here. I can only foresee a bright future. Though standing in the face of tragedy, we do not cower, we fight valiantly. And as the dark of night comes to an end and the sun starts shining again, so shall Belize rebound, valiant and bold, proud and strong. Belize rebounds at 4-1. Thank you.
Brave spirits hover around her sweet head. Those who fall over have freedom and land. They too are
With eCash, bill payment is extremely convenient, and all utility companies accept eCash payments. What's even better, you get to split bills with your roommates, siblings, or whoever you desire. Simply open your eCash app, go to Bill Pay, tap the respective utility company, enter the information, and pay the bill. Then tap the transaction made. Tap Split the bill. Select Evenly. Send the request to who you are splitting the bill with, and get notified when they pay. Talk about making life easy and avoiding confusion. You can split the bill for restaurants, grocery stores, and for any eCash payment you make. To find your next yummy meal, hair treatment, or chill spot, simply open the app and utilize the geolocation service to see nearby businesses that accept eCash. Geolocation and bill payment make life a whole lot easier.
We are Belizean travelers. Are you?
strike from Leo Messi. Neymar and Messi is standing over this. Messi. Oh, goal! What a goal from Leo
Great
Messi.
entertainment stays with you, and we bring you great entertainment. Next Gen, the ultimate digital experience.
My beautiful Belize, my land of the free, my home and it's bound by the Caribbean Sea. Valiant and bold, proud we are strong. Belize we rebound at age 41. Belize we are free and independent. We're free and independent. Free and independent. To be whatever you wanna be. Free and independent. We're free and independent. Free and independent. We're changing our country, we're free. So make we celebrate with smart. Come celebrate with smart. Make we celebrate with smart. Let's celebrate with smart. So make we celebrate with smart. Come celebrate with smart. Make we celebrate with smart. Let's celebrate with smart.
The entire Smart family wishes all Belizeans a safe and happy September celebrations. Smart, bringing people together.
Your life just got a lot less complicated with Belize Bank Contactless MasterCard Debit Card. Introducing our Standard Debit and MasterCard Platinum Debit Cards. Now you can make purchases anywhere MasterCard is accepted with one tap, pay and go. Your contactless card never has to leave your hands, especially in these times. And your card is embedded with multiple layers of security. Platinum card holders get to enjoy extra benefits like price protection, purchase protection, trip inconvenience, and luggage protection, just to name a few. Start enjoying a cashless lifestyle today with the Belize Bank.
Everyone, including our elderly, needs to stay connected with their loved ones. With Smart's Golden Citizen Broadband program, senior citizens can sign up for 10 megabytes of unlimited internet at a low monthly cost of $25. Citizens over 65 can sign up with a valid ID and receive free installation plus 1 month free on selected broadband plans. Visit a Smart showroom near you for more information on how you can enjoy Smart's Golden Citizen Broadband program. Smart, bringing people together.
We're back just like that. Our morning show is coming to a close, but we want to thank all of our guests this morning for coming in. Our first conversation was with the Ministry of Human Development. We had the folks that came up to talk about child abuse and the different stages of child abuse, the different types of child abuse, and how you as a parent, guardian, or friend can detect some of those changes within a child when they're being either physically, verbally, or sexually abused. It was a hard conversation to have.
Well, it's always a timely conversation nonetheless, given the instances and the frequency with which we're reporting these various forms of abuses against children. And so while shedding light on it this morning is only the tip of the iceberg, I think there's a certain responsibility that lies with us as adults, and in some cases as parents, that not only do we need to do the right thing, we also need to be able to show children what is right, what is wrong, teaching them, instilling those values in them. And of course, to me, most importantly, is allowing them the voice or the platform to be able to express when they are being abused, because as I mentioned earlier, they know. It's just being able to share that experience with someone that would be able to act upon it.
Agreed. But we also would like to say a big thank you to Maslin Hansen, who officially was coordinated Queen of the Bay this past September 10th, and of course extending our deep condolences to her family for their loss this morning. She did a really, really good job at keeping herself so gracious and so elegant that day. I had no idea that she was going through so much turmoil on that day. So kudos to her, and we'll be tuning in to see the job that I feel like we're going to be reporting on what Maslin does for the rest of this year, because she seems to be super active. But we want to thank you, the viewers, for tuning in and opening your eyes and starting your morning right here with us on Channel 5. We have a couple of birthday shout outs this morning, and our first birthday shout out goes to Mr. Inez Sanchez. Happy 90th birthday to Mr. Inez Sanchez, the big 90 Isani. For those of you that don't know, Mr. Sanchez is a historian. He's a former educator at UB. He has written books about the education system and curriculum in Belize. He is an avid historian, and honestly, if you go to Mr. Sanchez's house, he'll still talk to you about historic events that he has witnessed in his lifetime.
Interesting.
So, happy birthday to you, Mr. Sanchez. We hope you have a wonderful day from us here at Channel 5 and from your friends and family at home.
I'm also saying happy birthday to my colleague here at work.
Yes.
George Tillett, cameraman. There he is.
Happy birthday, Mr. Judge. From all of us here at Channel 5, your Channel 5 team, we hope you have a wonderful birthday today. And if you have a birthday shout out or just questions or comments, you can always drop us a line right here at oye@channel5belize.com, or you can catch our live stream on Facebook at Open Your Eyes BZ and our highlights on Instagram at OYE Belize. We'll see you guys tomorrow when you open your eyes
to start your morning right.
Keep your eyes, your minds,
and your hearts open.
Stay safe. We'll see you tomorrow, Belize.
This day, nature above, this queen of the bay, fine heart so loving, so tender, lovely and sweetly whisper to you, beautiful, beautiful queen of the bay, beautiful queen of St. George's Day. The lovely we treasure, oh, to what pleasure, beautiful queen of the bay.
Open Your Eyes was brought to you by the Belize Bank. Our country, your bank.